Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is a re-recording of a lesson I gave because I forgot that the music that I was listening to earlier was playing in the background, and my recording studio recorded the music and not actually what I was saying, which was quite fun. Yeah, it was on silent for us, so we didn't hear it. Yeah, hopefully last time I'll make that mistake. I'm just going to be going through the SQL, the introduction to SQL again, and we're going to go to, I'm going to show you from inside so you can know where to find everything. You guys all know how to get to the IT Shade, which will have all this information. You have multiple links to it from inside Moodle, from bit.ly/HPC, Google Share, etc. There's multiple different links to it on Teams as well. Okay, so if you go into there, you'll see that there's a couple of things. One, I'm going to work with the notes. And the notes that we're going to work with is the SQL notes, and you'll see that there's an SQL in a nutshell. Now, in SQL in a nutshell, it goes through a scenario of golf that was started by a guy named Philip Norton, and I used his example data, and I just restructured it a bit and got some information from there to put it through. So we're going to be working, you guys can work through this scenario in your own time. I'm going to practically use a database, and I'm going to go through my own scenario, and we're going to use a pass test that you're going to physically do this pass test while watching this video, and the questions in the test are different to what I'm going through, but just so you can get a grasp of it and then practice it at the same time while understanding the scenario. That English wasn't the best, but yeah. So I'm going to go now through to past assessments and grade 12 IT and SQL, and we're going to work with 2014's test 2. So you'll see there's a whole bunch of different tests that you can practice with. So we're going to open up 2014's test 2 question paper, and we're just going to look at the scenario here. And you'll see the scenario is that you've been asked to set up a database for a cars lot. If you look at the database that is set up, you have a vehicles, and you must pay attention to the data types there, because the data type is important when you're doing different queries. You need to make sure you understand what data type you expect in receiving or that you need to insert. Okay, and then you've got the for sale. Now the for sale, you can see that vehicle FK links the sale to which vehicle is being sold. So you'll see that it gets an automatic number ID, and then it would link through to there. And then the next one is our sold, and also that for sale FK refers to which item was put on sale and what the amount that was sold for. So for argument's sake, a motorbike could be put on for sale for 65,000, but then you'll see it was sold for 64,000. So they sold it for 1,000 rand less than what they would put it on for. So you can see that the relationship happens there. So it's basically from sold relates to for sale, and for sale works with vehicles. With normalization, you should understand this pattern now, but now we're going to learn how to query and get this information from it. So we're going to open up this database. We're going to go into the preloads. We're going to open up, you'll see this is the Office 2007 and newer version, and this is the 2003 and older. Would work with that, the MDB versus the Accdb. The reason why I have both copies is because sometimes the Accdb doesn't work with, for example, you guys should find a lot of you will not have access at home. If you do not have access at home, there is on your guys shared drive under pupil shared, IT shared, might even be under software actually, I'm not too sure, IT general resources even. You'll see that, yeah, IT general resources, you'll see that there's an SQL browser. When you open the SQL browser, you can open a database, and then I can physically open up the database that we were talking about. So if I go to that database, we're under IT shared, IT general resources, past assessments, and you'll notice that when I open up 2014 test 2 preloads, this Accdb and all the versions of the SQL thing, it doesn't work. It cannot recognize the source. It will not work on the source. So I can't use this SQL browser for there. So the only reason for having the second one is so that I can physically open up the database. And you'll see now I'm able to write my query in here. That's fun. Okay, the text-based query. Okay, so query builder, we don't need to just go this one. And now in here I can write my SQL, and I can go process query, and the results will be sent here. But we're not going to use that because I want to show you more detail on what's going on. So I'm going to open up the Accdb. Now the Accdb has the different tables here, so I can open them and I can show them structured. You'll notice that mine open up in overlapping windows. This is if you go File, Options. The default is not to do that. Current database, and you'll see the overlapping windows, tabbed documents. Tabbed documents just puts them in different tabs, and then you can't see all the tables at once, and it makes your querying life more tricky. So I suggest you go overlapping windows if it's not already set up like that. Okay, so we're going to go into this query. We're going to resize it just so I can put it down to the bottom. I need to really find a new position for that speaker so I can actually see the screen. So we're going to have this over here. We're going to move this as well, resize this. So we need to have all of it there. And the screen is quite small in comparison to what I need. I'm going to have the sale as well over here. That's good enough. Alright, so now we're going to create our query. So you go to create and we're going to create a query. Now SQL is a structured query language. You also have MySQL. It's a universal standard for querying databases. So we're going to go create a query design. Now you'll see this will open up Microsoft Access's query design, but then we're going to go through to the SQL view of it. Now in the SQL view, sorry, excuse me, we're then going to, I want to make this wider, being a bit tricky, and we're going to put it into here. Now I want to refer back to our SQL in a nutshell now, so we'll go into some of the define this. You're going to work with a select, an insert, an update, and a delete. Get information, send information, change existing information, remove. Select is the biggest one, and we're going to be dealing with that predominantly during this video. We're not going to be dealing with much other stuff during this video. We're just going to be dealing with the select. And we're only going to go up to where we get to aggregate functions. Aggregate functions was where I finished the lesson. That got overridden by music. So yeah, we'll go up to that stage over there. Alright, so I'm not going to go to the questions. I don't care about the questions. You guys will answer the questions. We'll work with that. So our select statements. So the first thing we're going to learn with the select. Select can just get information. When we say select, we are just saying select and what we are going to display. So like in the nutshell showed, if I said select 5 plus 5, it will just give me the answer 10. So I can say what I want to select, but generally speaking, you are trying to select from tables. So I could say select, let's just say make, comma, model, and then you would say from. Now you would then say from what table you want to select from. In this case, I'm selecting from the vehicles table down here. So I'm selecting the make field and the model fields from the table vehicles. And you run it and you'll see you'll get the make and the model fields of all records from that table. So select, you'll notice I make this in capital letters. It will still work in small case. If I run this, no problems. The reason why I write it in capital letters is to distinguish it from field names and table names. So I can clearly indicate this is a structured query language code from that. So it's a nice habit to get into. It makes your coding life easier. Also, you'll notice that if I go small m instead of capital M like it is in the field, it will still work. However, it will work when directly running it inside Access. When you're communicating from Java to your, you guys use you can access to access the database from inside Java, it will not work because the case is incorrect. Okay, so just please make sure you are aware of that. So I'm selecting, you first indicate fields and then from vehicles. Now this is important. You'll see as we progress, we continually expand on that information. So later on it will say select where, blah blah blah. So we'll go and we'll expand on that each time. So let's select fields from table. And you'll notice now when I get to the condition, it's in square brackets, and the square brackets just means that it's optional. It's not compulsory part of the query. So now they go through a definition where you can say where age is greater than or equal to 50. It's a bad example because you shouldn't be storing age. But for example, if I wanted to find out all vehicles that ODOs are over 80,000, so I could then just add a where condition. I could say where ODO is greater than 50,000. And you'll see then it will return only the vehicles whose ODOs were greater than 50,000. In that case, I probably would also want to. I wanted to show you something else here. If I want to select every single field, I just say star. So if I say select star, it will select every single field. Alright, now The next step that we're going to do, so where condition audio is greater than 50,000. I'm going to go a bit more detail on there. I can say where audio is greater than 50,000 and ODO less than 100,000. Now, what's very important here is even though I referred to audio here, I have to refer to audio here again, because otherwise less than, if I say audio greater than 50,000 and less than 100,000, Access doesn't know, or the server doesn't know that you're still referring to audio. You could be referring to a different field. So you always have to say field compared to value and field compared to value. You can't just go and say and other value. You need to restate which fields you're referring to. So and is that, and or would be or. Okay, in this case it wouldn't make any sense, but or would just be or. But in this case we're just going to leave and this would then run and successfully show us these are the two vehicles between 50,000 and 100,000. Obviously less than or equal to. If it was just equal to, you would have equal to. So it's quite basic on those regards. It's what you would expect it to be. Okay, there is one other slight change that we're going to go through now, and I'm going to go slightly out of order from this. Oh, here we go. It talks about not equal to. Now, the big thing is that with regards to not equal to, so if I say where ODO does not equal to, you could then say 80,000, so 54,000. So this means the Toyota wouldn't be going. So let me just if we run this, the Toyota will not be shown. So that would be not equal to is the greater than or less than sign. Another thing that you will also notice, I could do the following. I could say equal to, and I could say not, and that would also not show the Toyota Hilux. So there's a term of just saying not, and then ODO is equal to that, so it will return that. You can work with brackets as well. So for example, I could say not, especially if you're dealing with more ones, because you then have to say and something else or whatever. So BODMAS will apply there. Okay, so you'll see there that not is another function that is there. And the other thing I just want to briefly go to you is I can say where model is equal to, let me do make rather, there's a good few makes, is equal to, now I'm using I'm using single inverted commas here, but you can use double. But the reason why I use single is because I like distinguishing between Java open and close text and SQL open and close text later on when we put into here. But in your SQL component, it is fine. So you'll see now it'll only display Hondas. Now, in one of the questions, and the question stated, it's one of the earlier questions, look at all vehicles that are from Gauteng province. And my class actually did indicate that the number plate you could look at, and you could find it from the right-hand side of the number plate. Now, there's two ways of solving this. The first way is probably the easier way, is if you go like, and now you'd indicate star GP inverted commas, meaning star indicates a wildcard. So for example, if I was in here and I typed in my search criteria star dot PDF, it would find all PDFs in that drive. Star.pdf will search for anything, so it's what's called a wildcard character, anything with PDF. Now, for example, if I searched for star PDF star, you'll see it will search for things, and anything that even contains the word, so let me actually rather go memo, so let's go star, memo, star. So anything containing the word memo. So it doesn't just have to end with memo or start with memo, it just has to have the word memo anywhere in it. So you'll see, sorry, just further down here, I had a memo that was in the middle of it. So a memo just can be anywhere. If I wanted it to end on the word memo, I would do that. So it has to end on the word memo, which means that it will only get it if the last word in there, sorry, if it was that, it would only be if the last word was memo. If it was star, sorry, memo star, it would mean it would have to start with the word memo. That's interesting. I think maybe because of the dash that it came up with that Q&A one. Anyway, you guys get the idea. So dashes, it looks like it does look differently in the data there, but interesting. Okay, so that's one way of solving it. As you say, it's like that. The other way of solving it is I can use a function called left. Now obviously there's a function also called right. In this case I actually want right, not left, my bad. And we can say right number plate, comma 2. Meaning I want to take the last two characters on the right, the far right of the text, the two characters on the right, and I want to see if that is equal to GP. And you'll see this will, both cases will return all vehicles from Gauteng province. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to move on further down now. Now the next statement, other than the comparisons on the where, is what about your order by? Now order by, guess what that does? It sorts it. Alright, so now what I can do is I can sort vehicles. Now remember, where is optional, but if I had a where and an order by, it would go select from where order by. Now that's very important. This order that you get here in this SQL nutshell is very important. Select where order by. I can't go select order by where. It goes select where order by. It's just, and I can't go select where from order by. It goes select from where order by. Okay, so now moving on. If I order by, I could say order by make, and I ran that. You'll see there that all Hondas are together, and it goes Hyundai, and then it goes Tesla. So what I could also do is I could order by make, comma V year, and I could say DESC, which means it's going to order by make and then by the vehicle year descending. I'm going to delete the where condition here just so we can have more vehicles there. And you'll see there now it groups all of them first by their make ascending and then by their year, V year descending. So you can see I've now sorted it by using statements like this. Now you can see why having a database is very handy. Through SQL statements we can get the database to perform certain functions for us so that we do not need to code them ourselves. And we can run through there. Now if we move on from here, let's go look at our next step. I believe the next step has to do with, limiting output. This has to do with, you'll only find, if you wanted to find the 3 newest cars or whatever it might be. So if I wanted to find the 3 newest cars in the database, I could say order by vehicle year descending, and then I'd say select top 3 star, which means all fields, from TBL vehicles, order by vehicle years descending, and this will return the 3 newest vehicles. So you'll see there's a vehicle from 2018, 2012, and 2010. So I hope you guys get that. You'll see that happens there. One other thing I still wanted to briefly go through was your date functions. And you'll see there that here I've got a date of vehicles sold. Now, when I go select date of sale from sold, this is a date data type that you're receiving. Now what I also want to show you there is there are functions we can do on that. So for example, I can say year, date of vehicle sales, and you'll see that gives me just the year of the vehicle sale. If I said month of the vehicle sale, guess what that would do, and day, guess what that would do. Happy birthday. Now one other thing I want to show you there is that you can do the same with the function now. So if I say day now, it is the 13th of February at the moment. You'll see there that it will return the 13th, but it will repeat it because I'm selecting from sold. It will return that. I could run this function just by saying this, and then it will work there. What I do want to show you is often, because it's a method, people will use open brackets and close brackets. I actually forgot to add that, and I didn't realize it would still work. But we could now, let's say if we wanted to find out all vehicles that were sold, all vehicles that were sold this month, or was put for sale. This looks like I don't have anything there. Okay, I do have a sale that I think happens this year. So you must make sure we actually have data that we can test that. Okay, so I do have one sale that happened this year. So I want to find out all vehicles that were sold this year. So I'm going to say select star from Okay, I'm going to do it in different tables. From sold. Sold. Now I can say where. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to have to say where date, the month, date of sale is equal to month now. Open brackets, close brackets. So in other words, the month of the sale is equal to the month of the. So if I run this now, you'll see that it comes up with 2, but it's not correct because this one happened in 2013, this one happened, so it should only actually be returning 1 in this case. Now remember, the results are just a example. It is not the be all and get all. Okay, I've run out of time to complete this video sadly, but we have gotten up to the date functions. I'm also now just going to show you, so we would add and we would say year, open brackets, date of sales. So I'm going to finish this, then unfortunately I'm going to have to leave, and then I will do the next section with you guys again live month, and we'll say now, and again I'm using capital letters to determine that. That will only show me, it shows me none of them. Sorry, this should be year, obviously, my fault. Okay, so now when I run this, you'll see that it will come up with one vehicle sale that did occur. Now you'll notice there for sale FK6, that doesn't actually tell me what vehicle was sold. So we're going to show you on the next video, I'm going to show you how to link the different tables, and I'm happy to go through that again because I do think that's a very important item, is to link tables. Goodbye for now. Hope this video